Hi, it's Nell with Joyous Garden, and today I'm going to talk about the Dracaena Marginata, also known as Madagascar Dragon Tree. And it is a great plant where you want a little bit more modern feel or you want an Asian feel because of the spiky leaves. This one is called a candelabra form. It's this great braided form. I've seen these braided. I've seen them in small pots all the way up to 22 feet. I was an interiorscaper at one time, which means I put interior plants into commercial buildings, so I really know what kind of conditions they can stand. This one, in terms of exposure, it likes a nice bright light, nothing too direct and hot, and not in a dark corner because it does need some light. You know, the other Dracaenas would have, or a bamboo palm, that kind of light. And in terms of watering, you should really water it only when it's dry. You can overwater it, which most people do with houseplants. I water mine once every 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more in the summertime. And in the winter, I tend not to keep my house really, really hot, so I might water it like once every 3 weeks. And you might see some brown tips on the ends of yours. If they're just small brown tips, it's a result of salts and fluorides in our water. It's just how these house plants react to them. They grow in subtropical and tropical areas where they're used to rainfall. So when they get our waters that have all that in them, they will burn out on the tips a bit. If you see a lot of browning, it's either overwatering, or if you see a lot of yellowing, it's underwatering. That's large. It's just these small tips. Either use the like a distilled water, or pour some water out of your tap and then let it sit for a day or so, and all that will dissolve out, and then you can thoroughly water it, and try not to let any water sit in the bottom of the saucer. If you watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm not really big on fertilizing outdoor plants, but indoor plants, because they're growing indoors, do like a little bit of fertilizer. So if you can find an organic, a liquid fertilizer for houseplants, and be sure to use it at the strength that they recommend. If it calls for 1/2 teaspoon per pint, be sure to use that, and only fertilize it once or twice a year. They really don't need it any more than that. And your house plant is probably going to get some sort of an insect at some point in time, especially when our heat comes on and it gets dry. It tends to bring out a lot of insects. These this one here is susceptible to spider mite, especially mealybug and scale, and you can control those with a homemade spray of either alcohol is good for mealybug. Scale, you'll see its brown spots, and you can really just pick that off if it's not too much on it. And spider mite, just a soapy spray to spray it down, or you can get something like a horticultural oil spray and use that on your house plants if you want to make it easier on that. Or just take them to the sink or the shower if you can do that, and then just give them a really good spray to wash all that off. And be sure to get the undersides of the leaves, because that's where these critters all live and breed and get down inside here, especially the mealybug and the scale will get down in here too. So just be sure to get it in there. In terms of pruning, if there are some large brown tips, you can prune those off. If there's any yellow leaves, you can just take those off like that. Doesn't need a whole lot of pruning. If sometimes the heads on these will just get droopy, and it's usually from like lack of light or inconsistent watering, too much water, too little watering. Cut it here, and it'll actually sprout out heads here. So if you want to do that, you can do that. And again, I talked about the spraying it with some water, either hosing it. Well, probably in the summer you wouldn't have to hose it if you get water. If you get rain, we don't. I'm in Southern California, that's why I say hose it off in summer. But if you live someplace, you can just take it off outside in the rain. That's what I do in the winter, is I just take mine out in the rain, because it's good to get the dust off these leaves too. And if you can't do that, if you live in an apartment building, you can put it in the shower and clean your leaves off. And as I said, it comes in all different forms. It comes in a single trunk with multi-heads. It comes in multiple stems with all sorts of character. It's called the Dracaena Marginata with character. This would be a character marginata. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to our channel, because we're going to do a lot more videos like this. Actually, if you have a houseplant that you have any questions about or you're interested in, just leave a comment below and I will do a video for you, because there is a local grower here who grows them wholesale. Please come back and see us again at Joyous Garden TV.